From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell. With his first official visit to Asia now in the rearview mirror, Prime Minister Mark Carney told reporters at a presser today about Canada's economic focus moving ahead. Carney explaining the trade winds from south of the border simply are not as reliable as they have been in the past.
In that backdrop, we know that we have to transform our economy. Transform it from one of reliance on a single trade partner to one that's more resilient to global shocks, to an economy built on the solid foundations of strong Canadian industries and bolstered by diverse international trade partners.
The PM arrived in Asia last week with a plan to pitch Canada as a reliable trading partner and to try to encourage investment into nation-building projects at home. He attended 2 summits and met with regional leaders and business execs. Montreal's buses and metro trains ground to a halt today as hundreds of striking public transit workers gathered downtown to press for improved pay and working conditions. Montrealers who typically rely on transit were forced to find alternatives after metro and bus drivers called a one-day strike, their first strike in 38 years. Negotiations between the union and the city's transit network have been underway for months now after the workers' contract expired in January. The union blamed the dispute on the province's underfunding of the network, which they say has worsened conditions for both workers and transit users. A weakened Hurricane Melissa is making for a wet and windy weekend in much of the Atlantic, with some areas warning of possible flurries as the storm weakens. Canadian Press reporter Lisa Laporte has the latest.
Melissa was downgraded to a post-tropical storm Friday as it moved up the east coast and further across the Atlantic Ocean. Environment Canada officials say much of the Atlantic region should expect continued wind Saturday, but it's expected to die down overnight and into Sunday. Some eastern areas like Cape Breton and parts of Newfoundland will likely continue to see rain and potentially even flurries Saturday.
Some areas recorded wind gusts of up to 120 kilometers per hour, with an average of 60 millimeters of rain recorded across Atlantic Canada in just 10 hours. And the Toronto Blue Jays have a chance to win a World Series title for the first time in 3 decades. The club takes on the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 7 tonight. George Springer hit an RBI single for the Blue Jays' lone run in Game 6 last night after missing 2 games with an injury to his right side. Blue Jays manager John Schneider says he's counting on Springer again tonight.
I'm looking for him to have a moment, if you will. You know, he's had a few of those in these settings. So I think he'll be tired tomorrow, no matter what the outcome is, but he'll be ready to go tonight.
Watch parties for Game 7 are set to take place across Canada. In Toronto, the city says it's working closely with officials at the Rogers Centre, Toronto Police, and transit agencies to prepare for all possible scenarios amid expectations of large crowds in the downtown core. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Dodgers say Shohei Ohtani will start Game 7 of the World Series against the Toronto Blue Jays. His start connected with a league rule that pitchers who start games in the batting order can remain in the game as a designated hitter after leaving the mound. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays send Max Scherzer to the mound in his second career Game 7. New York Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer is the NHL's Rookie of the Month for October. The 18-year-old from Hamilton had 3 goals and 5 assists in his first 11 games. Meanwhile, on today's schedule, the Boston Bruins doubled the Hurricanes 2-1 in one of 13 games. The puck has dropped in Winnipeg as the Jets are hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Flames are also playing this afternoon against the Nashville Predators. Tonight, the Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators clash in Montreal. The Vancouver Canucks visit the Minnesota Wild, and the Edmonton Oilers host the Chicago Blackhawks. And in the MLS playoffs, the Vancouver Whitecaps will take on FC Dallas in Game 2 of their first-round series. The Caps lead the series 1-0. From the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.